And now the battle facility in Pokemon Amber.
Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 22.
Created by Fruity
I'm
Arts.
Gabe,
Gotta
and
give him
today
credit.
we'll be finishing up Route 10. But first,
Okay.
In the last episode,
We had
traveled
new
through
evolutions
Plyo Cave
and a new
ran into
Pokemon.
your rival, Grant.
It was neat.
You were able to defeat him, exit the cave, and now you're continuing up Route 10.
Which apparently there'll be a battle facility at some point, I imagine when we reach the town. Although I can't prove that because I haven't seen the episode yet. We're about to though.
Outside of the geothermal caves, the remainder of the route is much colder. You can make out Pokemon moving in the blowing snow, chip it, and
This is where we show up the budget of the game, in that we can see that our own air we breathe.
A towering silhouette emerges from the snow. And before we get to it, we're actually going to revisit a previous design. I generally don't plan on doing that many redesigns, but let's take a look at a quick change for Primal Amara.
Yeah,
So because of a tweak that I will be making to Auroras, Little Amara is switching from pure fairy type to an electric type instead.
What?
I know I made a big fuss
That's a bit of a
about
180.
wanting this line to have the fairy typing, but the type combination
You changed your mind.
we're going to be ending up with is so good that I'm just going to have to be okay with losing the fairy type.
Nah. Electric fairy type you
Little
could have had.
Amara's design is essentially the same, other than a slight color palette swap and some changed verbiage on its dex entry.
You're
It is now the static field
You're changing
Pokemon.
all the
This cute
you're making so many
wiggles
Pokemon
its
already.
long
I'm okay
horns
with
when it
just
gets
like
excited.
copy paste.
Primal
You know?
Amara's horns are used to help it navigate by sensing electromagnetic fields. They are unable to become lost due to this sense. Primal Amara are often picked on by Tyrant in the wild.
No
And
bullying.
will resort to surprisingly
Although it
strong
can't
stab
kill
shots
Tyrant
if
anymore.
provoked. And its ability remains cute charm.
Actually, I think
that
Tyrant.
is
Well, I
a
did
wink
type
that
chart, so
maybe
meh.
should still be fairy
He
type.
changed the type chart.
But enough of that. Let's take a
I
look
imagine
at
we'd
what
still learn some
Primal
fairy type
Auroras
moves
will be.
though.
So,
Keep a little bit of it.
obviously, we're going to continue with the original inspiration, which is the Amargasaurus.
Yeah, S Code told me they was going
I
to
was
change the
looking into it to see
Aurora
what the recent consensus
that
on
design,
its
so
spines
yeah.
were, within the paleontological community, but it looks like the sales are still correct.
I
There
do
were
like
some studies
Auroras
put
though.
out
I
that
love the
suggested that
Aurora
the
Borealis
spines
and its
could have been covered
vein,
by
I guess?
like keratin sheaths, essentially
It's a
turning them into
beautiful Pokemon.
a bunch of thin horns along the back of their necks. And
Gen
with no
6's
sail
fossil
structure at all,
Pokemon
but
are like some of the
it's
best
looking
we've
like
ever
that
gotten.
is not correct. Oh, but it's also likely that the sail was not a particularly like fleshy hump like some had theorized, so I wanted to make sure that in this redesign you were still able to see the individual spines. Also,
Nice.
instead of the flowing ribbon of the original, this will have a more rigid or
No sails,
rigid,
just spikes.
sail made out of ice that kind of grows on its back.
So
And
it
of
becomes
course,
electric ice
that
type.
gives us our typing of electric ice.
So that's why I lost the
This
fairy
just
typing
made
entirely.
the most sense for a Pokemon inspired by the Aurora phenomena.
That's
Electric
an awesome
because,
idea.
well, they're caused by the Earth's electromagnetic field,
Mm.
and ice because they're most commonly observed closer to the poles. I actually lived
love
in
all these little
Alaska for a
details
few
of the
years
ice.
and got the opportunity to see the Aurora Borealis for myself, and it's
I lived in Alaska for a
unbelievable,
few
like,
years.
just bananas.
Why? Yeah,
so
that'd be
anyway,
probably
I'm
a kid.
pretty
You don't
happy
get to
with
say it
getting
no
this
matter where you
fairly
live.
unique type in there. This
As a
is
kid.
Primal Aurorus, the twin sail Pokemon.
Gorgeous.
This
I love
gentle
thing's
giant
design.
comes to the aid of any Pokemon
I can
or
see that it's
person
like
in need. They
see-through
often
parts
lift
of
smaller Pokemon
ice, but I can
off
also
the
see it
ground with their
moving,
dexterous
you know?
tails and place them between their two icy sails for protection.
Damn,
they can
it's
cause
big.
their ice to illuminate with a
I'm
rainbow
just
of
imagining
colors
the
by charging
roar
of
it makes
electricity.
in the
In
games.
the wild, only Tyrantrum dares
That
hunt
was a
this
terrible
Titan.
impression. Just look
Its
it up
ability
online.
is Radiant Sparkle. So that means when it's hit by a contact move, there is a 25% chance it'll confuse the
Ooh,
attacker.
so it's not
Primal
so it's not
Aurorus
getting the usual
lumbers through the
static.
snow
That's
and
a bit
causes
of
its
variety, but hey, you know what? If
sails
it's probably
to
the Aurora
pulsate with
Borealis, you'd be
color
like,
to
what
say
is
hello
this?
as it passes by. You do spot a much smaller Pokemon that darts between the mighty Aurorus's feet.
Oh?
It's incredibly fast, but you squint against the snow and sun to get a good look at this tiny Pokemon scurrying atop the snow. Time for another ice type.
Okay.
I'll let you know that this design has some slight inspirations
I imagine
that
this will be a
it's
single
mainly
stage.
transitional design to get to its second stage.
Never mind then. I'm wrong.
There was an arboreal reptile called Avicranium that used a clawed and likely prehensile tail to climb trees, and I wanted to rip off of that. Also, because of the snowy environment,
I like it.
I'm bringing in some elements of the Jesus lizard, which runs normally on water, to let this little guy run on top of snow and give it a fun.
Anytime I hear like Jesus lizard,
We're
Jesus fish, I'm just like,
what?
Excuse you?
Though these come more into play once it evolves.
And then explain why it's like, oh, okay, that makes more sense.
What it'll evolve into, you just let me know down in the comments below. The colors were easy to find, something nice and icy. Though I did make sure that the shiny had some warmer greens to hint that the fact that the actual Avicranium likely lived in a much warmer climate. All right.
I just realized that thing, it's got an eye and a mouth like
this
there, but
Pokemon
when I saw it, he had an eye, and then one was like closed, like he lost an eye or something, and then I'm like, oh wait, no, that's his mouth.
Tail to aid in climbing vertical walls of ice. If a predator ever begins to catch up to them, they will resort to diving headfirst into the snow and digging their way to safety.
I thought it was going to be like the myth of the ostrich.
And trainers will need to be very patient to earn their trust. Its ability is Slush Rush, and that means the Pokemon's speed is boosted in a hailstorm.
Naturally.
So yeah, Guanice is pretty cute, and you see them
That's
skittering
cool.
around on top of the snow all around.
Ember.
As you climb up the mountain, you do come across a construction site. Some friendly workers are putting the last touches on a massive hotel and arena.
Let me guess, did we done after we
some
beat the
wealthy
Elite
individuals from outside the region have
Oh well,
funded
these will
their
have a
own
battle
scenic
factory,
hotel
unlike
to visit the
Oras.
region. It is sure to be finished soon, so you'll have to come back and challenge some
Worst
of the
part about that
trainers
is they
you visit.
teased it like, it's under construction. Oh, okay, we'll get DLC at some point.
Battle frontier set up into the region somehow, and we can easily say that good old Professor Ginkgo couldn't say no to some additional funding from a wealthy benefactor if all she had to do was let them build a hotel and battle facility.
Look.
Oh, and speaking of Professor Ginkgo,
money's kind of hard to turn down.
I'll be marrying her here in a few days.
Congratulations.
I usually try and, read and respond to comments right away, but if there is a delay this time, just know that we are in that last mad dash before the wedding. But enough about me. You continue trekking through the snow. You're feeling quite cold as you near the summit. Your teeth are chattering loudly, but a song on the wind lifts your spirits and gives you the motivation to carry on. You look around for the source of the pleasant tune and spot a new Pokemon. Alright, if you remember back...
Oh, I like this idea already. I see where you're going with this.
I had mentioned that I already had a Nurse Joy Pokemon in mind for the Paleo
This is the Nurse Joy thing?
This is our musical Parasaurolophus. Parasaurolophus? Is that how you say it? For the longest time, I used to say Parasaurolophus, but I think that's wrong. So, yeah,
dinosaur!
Parasaurolophus. Oh, and we're going to be running with the calls that these hadrosaurs likely made using their resonating chambers and their ornate crests. In particular, we're bringing in brass instruments like the trombone and trumpet. Oh, and the body shape of Parasaurolophus always reminded me a bit of like an ocarina as well, so we're going to pull in some inspiration from that too.
Why not?
We're going to make it so that the tail and like some of the body are hollow
taking a bit of liberty with the dinosaur
so that
design,
much like a
but
real
it's also
wind instrument,
okay,
this Pokemon can play different
notes
by covering different holes along
but
its
that's
tail
not a bad
and knees,
thing.
or head crests. So just imagine that while it's playing music, it is just like smacking itself all over, almost like a ham bone dance. In the end,
you do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about.
Holes making the shape of notes and even lines on its belly like sheet music. Oh, and of course, the shiny just had to be golden so that it could look even more like a brass instrument. This is Hadrotoot, the trumpet Pokemon.
It's cute. Fairy dragon! How am I gonna kill this thing? Ice, I guess. Poison?
It wasn't until Hadrotoot was revived.
Well, I know he's got his own type sharp, but still.
That it uses its mostly hollow body as a resonating chamber. They love to cheer up others with their uplifting music. Recently, they have been observed
this thing would fit in perfectly in Dragon Tales
and playing epic orchestral arrangements. Its ability is Pixelate, So that takes normal type moves and makes them do fairy type damage and increases their power by 20%. And that's mainly just so that this can use all of those normal type sound moves and they'll do fairy type damage.
Cool.
The Hadroot's jolly demeanor urges you to the top of Mount Paleo, where you find a resilient settlement.
Which we will get to next time.
Nobody is in sight. Something feels off. You ready yourself
probably the
to
evil
investigate,
team.
but you'll start with that in the next episode.
Well.
Thank you all so much for watching.
I like the cool redesign of Aurora, or more.
As always, I'd love to hear
Aurora's
your thoughts
is pre-evolution,
on today's
I forgot the
episode
name
down in
of.
comments below.
Making electric type,
I
I kind of like the fairy look, but hey,
after I have wed the lovely Aaron. Bye.
Again, congratulations. I hope you two are happy and all that jazz. Nothing but the best, as usual. But yeah, the fairy look is, I kind of like the fairy look, but the electric type is also one I can't really complain with. Plus the electric ice is like, okay, that makes sense. It works given the Aurora Borealis and all that jazz. And the new thing, the new small one, was pretty cute. I don't know if I'd add it to my party, but it would be pretty cute, Sometimes you do playthroughs where it's just like, I've never used you on a team before. Let's start now. And then the other one is just, it's cool, I like it. A trumpet little thing. I can imagine that being fun, where it like swings its tail around to get more musical notes and like that. It's its own marching band in a way. Anytime anyone feels down, this thing comes around. It's probably got a heel bell move or something like that, Maybe its own kind of move where it's like heals all assassins or something like that by playing a musical instrument. It sounds like a fun Pokemon. I can see why that's the Nurse Joy Pokemon. It seems a little bit of a mix-up from the Chansey, Blissey, Audino line they usually get stuck with, or was it Indeedee in Gen 8? I don't know. The Gen 7, I don't know what Gen 8 was. But yeah, usually they get a more stereotypical kind of stuff where it's like you have an image in your head of what it is. Not everyone. I know the anime had its own usual mix-up from the usual just Chansey, but 9 times out of 10. But yeah, this is a mixed facility. I think one had a Glanmeow, maybe a Growlithe. Yeah, there's so many Nurse Joys, I can't keep track of all of them. But yeah, it would be certainly something different to see this, that's for dang sure, right? A mix-up to say the least. But yeah, just some more really cool Pokemon that I'm glad I got to see, so yeah. Shame that Battle Tower is under construction, although we'll still probably get before the one in Oras. I'm not salty, you're salty. What are you gonna do? It's too late now. They're not gonna add DLC now, especially with the 3DS being no longer supported. It's not dead, just they're not supporting it anymore. Yeah. Shame. Oh. Again, what are you gonna do, right? Oh. Cool episode, cool new Pokemon. Cool Battle Tower, can't wait to see what's going to go on with the next town and the next one. And again, one more time, congratulations on the marriage. So, I wish you nothing but the best and happy days ahead. So until next time, I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!